Hey guys, this is Vishal. Welcome back for the daily market review video for 1918. So, yeah, kind of a down day in the market. Nothing crazy though. Just half a percent down day. No news. Just I would say a pullback. Um, OPEX tomorrow. Kind of some profit taking. Going into a big earnings week next week. Let's start with the S&P 500 ETF SPY. Did pretty well today. Came down. Yesterday we kind of closed this gap up back from the 321, and today we kind of closed this gap up from what that was it? What Tuesday morning gap up. So we kind of closed the gaps. Both the gaps are closed here. Um, we held the 50 SMA and we closed above it. So let me just out of the way. And yeah, so 50 SMA held on to today. Dipped down to what 267. 267 is also a support line in between. If you look into pretty closely here, we held on to this level, 267.56. So a nice day. I mean, nice consolidation, you can say. But the gap is closed from yesterday. So this is a bullish sign in my opinion. Should try to, tomorrow is Friday. I won't be surprised if we get pinned around 269, 270. But again, only if there's no political news. So S&P 500 going into next week though, I'm bullish because you got a lot of ERs coming in next week. Google, Amazon, Intel, Microsoft, Apple. So definitely Caterpillar bullish going into next week, but might buy some stuff into close tomorrow. Not buying anything in the daytime. Let things shake out a little bit. Let market makers pin stuff, and then you buy it into the close in like last 30 minutes. And Monday morning, Tuesday morning, you can sell some stuff off. Moving on to the QQQ Nasdaq ETF. What happened here today? Same thing, a little weak today. Last night, Taiwan Semiconductor did a earnings. They had good numbers, but they guided down, and that kind of really took. I actually took a nice hit on my AMAT calls because I actually bought AMAT yesterday based on the weakness from LRCX, which also actually had a good numbers and good guidance, but it just sold off. So AMAT kind of sold off with LRCX, and I bought it on the weakness. But then I woke up this morning and I saw LRCX down another $3. So well, sometimes those news events can really throw you off. But that Taiwan Semiconductor earnings really really hurt the Qs. If we did not have the news that news from Taiwan, Amazon was the play, and Amazon would have taken the Nasdaq and the Qs a lot higher today. But the semis kind of held us back because of Nvidia, MU, Intel, AMAT, LRCX, a lot of AMDs, a lot of these chips, WDC, SDX, a lot of these chips got hurt today. Skyworks. So I would wait a day or two now for the let them to kind of consolidate and let them little shake off a little bit, because we all know that they're good companies and they do well. But that semiconductor, also Apple got hit today because of that, because it's a major supplier for Apple products for iPhones and iPads. So Apple kind of hurt the market as well a little bit. So all around, that TSM earnings kind of took the hurt the Nasdaq overall. Coming back to the Qs, it did 165 resistance. Actually, we broke it through it yesterday, but not convincing on a good volume. And today we kind of broke under it, but we held on to this 50 SMA 164.12. We kind of came to 164ish, and we not all the way down to the 50 SMA, but it kind of held support today. I like this. I think maybe tomorrow we might have another red day to kind of close this gap up. As you can see, SPY did close the gap here, so the Qs gotta close the gap. They did close the gap here from that 321. I would like to see this gap closed up soon, and then we can go back to the 170 like I said, we got Amazon, Google, and Facebook, I think, is also next week. So a lot of the FANGs are reporting next week. Apple, big week next week. So I won't be surprised if we at least run into 170 just into the earnings, and then go from there after the earnings. IWM, small caps, another powerful sector in this market, down a little over 0.5%. 156 broke yesterday, not convincingly, couldn't really hold the gap, came down, and I think it kind of closed the gap today. I like this. I think this is going to go to 160 in a week or so. There's nothing much to say here. I think this is a very strong play. 160 is definitely on cards here for IWM. Let's look at what I buy today. I bought PayPal. I spoke about PayPal yesterday in the swing plays. I didn't buy it. I bought this morning. It has earnings next week, 4/25. I think it's Thursday or Wednesday after hours. I think, yep. I like this pattern on PayPal. Look at this nice W forming, and I want to see this and then break out to 83, 84 next week. What I do like here is that, and I want to show you where I bought it today. So this is a daily chart, and we know that the 80-86 is a strong resistance. It's been holding. It held up yesterday. A nice dip today to kind of make that ER position. I bought $80 calls for May, so I gave myself some time. Not gonna hold through ER. I might hold one contract. I'm not sure. But here's what the chart looked like, right? You can see this. Let's open the 5-minute. It kind of makes it easier, so you can see the fib lines, how they work out. Let's see. This is last Friday is kind of going sideways at the 38.2 fib line. Even Monday sideways until in the morning, and then took off. And then Tuesday broke the 50 fib line, made its way up, came back, tested it on Wednesday, yesterday. The 50 went to 80.89, which is actually around the same as 61.8 fib line. And today, this is where I bought it. I actually got in at this candle over here. Actually this one, or this red one. So which is around, like, I think 79.50-ish. I think it came down to 79.18. I think was the low of the day. It held that 50 fib line, and it just kind of went sideways all day, and it held pretty strong, nice into the day, into close. So I like this PayPal play. I think this is gonna pay nicely next week. I believe we should at least see 80, 83. $83 before the earnings. So in a week, $3 move on PayPal is possible, probably more. I would love to see 86 before the earnings, but I'll be happy with 83. Adobe. I like the stock. This has been one of the strongest stocks that I'm seeing in this market because every time it dipped, it actually came back up and recovered pretty much everything. So it's not like it's lagging behind. It actually made all-time highs yesterday. So you can see it's been a very strong stock company in this market. What I do like about this is that I actually bought 230s for May. So $230 strikes for May. They don't have earnings until June, but I think what I like here is first of all, it's been very strong. So I like that about Adobe, and a nice charts. I mean, it runs up, a little pullback, runs again, pullback, run here, a nice pullback today. Actually, I bought on like 220 some. I'm up on my calls. I like this support at 226.29. That's what it actually bounced off today. And then I'd like to see this break into break this all-time highs next week with the Qs and with the big FANGs reporting in the techs. Reporting next week. I would like to see this break into 233 and probably move higher into that 240, 250 range in a week or so. I think it can easily run. It's a fast mover. So I like Adobe. I bought today. There's still time to get into this play. 230s for me is what I have on Adobe. MasterCard. So MasterCard is another play that I like. Today, let's just look at this real quick. American Express had earnings. and they had a massive gap up. I mean, 7%. I think this is probably this is the biggest gap I've ever seen on AXP. If you look back, in July, nothing much on the earnings. Look back in October, nothing much on the earnings. In January, actually it gapped down on the earnings, and then we had this, pullback. And then look at this massive, and they had good numbers. Absolutely, they had good numbers. They guided well, up and down beat, well, top and bottom beat, and a massive, actually made a new all-time highs today. Beautiful, beautiful play. I know Tech Money. I think he YOLO'd some calls into this earnings, and I'm sure he had a great day on this play. So based on that, MasterCard, I believe, is in a strong play. They announced they have an investor day coming up. I think they said May 16th and May 30th. Now these calls that I bought 180s for May. So this is gonna run into the earnings. This is not gonna be for the conference, but after the earnings, and after the earnings is where I will be going back in for the conference. So I'm not gonna hold this for the earnings. I like to see 183 on these before earnings, and then sell these, and then buy after the earnings, depending if they drop or if they go up. So based on AXP numbers, I expect MasterCard and Visa both to do well and go up. So MasterCard right now, 180s for May is what I bought today. CRM. Now I don't have any position in CRM. What I like about this stock is that it's been super strong, super strong. We had earnings. I'm back on 227, 228 right here, and made the new all-time highs. We had a pullback with the sector, and it's trying to get back up in that area again. My end of the year target on CRM is around this 145 to 150, and that's I'm giving 6 months down. You're buying calls here, let's say like 140s or 150s for even like 140s going out in like September, October is going to be a massive play. They got earnings in May 17th. This can easily go to 135 by then. I mean, you can easily have a good play on this. It's holding the 78.60 fib line support, 123, 124. Only down 40 cents today, so it held pretty strong in this market. Yes, low volume, but everything is low volume nowadays, so big whoop. But definitely keep an eye on CRM. Amazon. Now, before I start, I want to congratulate everybody in the Black Box chat room who made big amazing profits on Amazon in like first 30 minutes. I think the whole room did like around 100K in the first 30 minutes. Started with Maria, she alerted this in the first thing in the morning, and she went in and everybody just followed her and just banked on it. I don't play Amazon. It's just too rich for me. Even there are calls that you can buy who are the weekly calls. It's just not me. I like to play something that is much more, I guess, less risky. But the chart was saying it. The chart yesterday it closed at 1542. Last night we had Bezos come on CNBC saying Amazon Prime now has 100 million subscribers, and boom, it took off after hours. Went to 1570 this morning, kind of had a pullback. It also actually filled this gap on Tuesday. So earnings are next week, 426. That is next Thursday after hours. 1600 is not out of the question. Easily possible. And if the numbers are good, I would not rule out 1700 out of this beast. Massive runner, basically holding the market up. Like this is the only thing that actually held the Qs up from being down like 100-200 points, basically, because semis really took a big hit. But Amazon really, even the FANGs, if you look at Facebook, up $1.50, $1.75. Google, up $14. Netflix I think was red, but only red $1. I mean, it was red pretty nicely in the morning, like $5 or $6. But then but held on to it. I mean, so the fangs were strong today. It was just the semis that actually kind of took a hit, and it kind of held us down. But besides that, it was an overall very good day. I played Nvidia, I played Baba, I day traded those things so I could recover my losses from AMAT, and then I ended up buying Mastercard, Adobe, and PayPal. I even played Microsoft. Let's look at Microsoft real quick here. They got earnings coming up next week. So this is what I did on Microsoft today. I bought actually weekly $95 calls, which expires tomorrow. It was just a very quick play for me. Actually, I'll show you a 3-minute chart real quick on it. That way, so actually, I actually bought it right at this price over here, which was 95.55, and I paid like, I'm not sure what I paid for it. I'm not gonna deposit it. Actually, I bought for next week. Sorry, I bought for the earnings. I bought $95 strikes for 227, and I paid 244 or 245 on these, and I sold at 289 or 290ish at this spike, because I actually bought it at this price at this range, and I sold it at the top. I know I bought for the earnings run up. I just didn't want to hold that anything into tomorrow and into weekend. I might, if I get a dip tomorrow again at this price at 95.60, 95.40, I might rebuy them. But yeah, that was a good play. And then I sold it at this 96 because I want to show this real quick. Microsoft actually made a high of the day at 97.07, but it actually did also a double top here. If you look, it's pretty close to double tops. So I didn't want to hold it into tomorrow. I feel like this might break through or not. Earnings are next week. If you're a chart thing, you might say chart person, you would say it's a triple top. It's a triple top on Microsoft in the last 2 months. That's my concern on there. It really needs to break through this. It will break through this. I just don't know if this is the earnings it's gonna do with that. Definitely a strong company. A lot of good things. Their cloud business is amazing. They're doing well overall. I just feel like that this triple top at 97.50ish is gonna hold it up a little bit. So I don't do ERs. I'm gonna be very careful going into next week. So this is what I want to talk real quick about next week. If you remember last earnings, let's just kind of go back here on just take an example for Apple real quick. And let me just remove all these things over here. So let's just talk real quick on the what happened. This is where the earnings came up. Apple guided down and everything. Sure, that was 2.2 or 2.1. 2.2. We had a nice red day. 166 to 160. Actually, let's look at QQQ. That will be better indicator of this whole thing. So let's remove everything here and just talk about it real quick. I'm not saying this is going to happen again. I'm just going to be saying be careful going into next week. So 2.1 right here, and then after that, we had those numbers from the inflation numbers kind of came in, and we took a hit. But here, right here, that was over here on 2.9. But look at this, like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Apple reported all on 2.1, and boom, we just took a hit. Even though Amazon actually held very strong that day, but Apple guided down, Google was not doing well, and we just took down. Again, we are in the same position. I'm not saying we're in the same market again. Actually, we're in the kind of a little more volatile market than we were back over here. So my suggestion, my advice, and my upcoming plays is this: I bought PayPal today for the earnings. $80 strike price going into earnings. PayPal reports on Thursday or Wednesday. Amazon, Apple reporting on Thursday. Google on Tuesday. I would start selling stuff personally. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sell my PayPal on Tuesday before Google reports, because I know that the queues will run into the earnings. The queues are gonna run into earnings of Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Intel. They will run into earnings. So I will take those as they run into earnings. I want to take my gains. Same thing goes on Adobe, and well, Adobe is a different play because I have longer terms on it, and they're mostly at the money. Mastercard too. If it hits 183 on Monday or Tuesday, I'm out. I don't like to stay, even though I have longer dated calls. I don't hold on to it just because I have till May. If I'm green on my calls, I'm out. My what has worked for me this year is that taking those gains every time I see them. Yes, obviously you if I held on to those for a week or so, I would have made much more gains. Absolutely, but you gotta just remember this, that in this last 2 months, you can see this, and look at this January. Look at February, March, kind of, well, February beginning, February and March and April. Doesn't mean that April, May is going to be like this. It doesn't mean that. You gotta be careful. We can easily turn down from here, and then God knows what happens. Just be careful, be smart. Earnings are coming up. Big expectations from this earnings from Apple, Amazon, Facebook. Facebook, we already know what's going on with Facebook. Be smart, be safe. Just sit out the next week. Don't do anything. Just wait. If you're not already in it, just sit it out for one more week, and then once next Friday, you'll have a better idea of the market, and then you can play it. Come back next Monday and play. Don't rush into it. Just take it easy. Be patient. That's the key in this market. Remember one thing: no profit is better than red. Always remember that. You can sit for 1 week out and not make any money. It's better than losing $2,000, $3,000, or $10,000. So just if you are uncomfortable in this market, if you know what you're doing, and if you feel like you got it, hey, go for it. Go ahead and play it, kill it. But if you're new and still learning and haven't figured it out yet, take it easy. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna sit out. I hardly have 5%, not even I have 2% of my portfolio right now invested. 2%. 3 calls in PayPal, 2 calls in Adobe, and 2 calls in Mastercard. I literally have nothing invested in the market. Just basically, $500-$600 in each of these particular plays. So that's not gonna really hurt me much. So be careful, be smart, and come back next week and just play the direction. If we have a pullback, you play the put. If you see, okay, you know what, here we go, all the numbers were good, company did really well, go long. Be smart. I'm gonna keep saying this. Patience is the key. Patience is the key in this market, at least this year. Last year, you could have bought calls and slept on it for 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, and wake up and come back and you're up, 20, 30K. Now you do that, you're probably down 20, 30K. So gotta be smart. So that's all I gotta talk about it. But keep an eye on PayPal. I think it's a solid play going into next week. I think it runs into earnings. 84 is not out of the question going into earnings next week. So if you haven't bought PayPal, I think I would recommend PayPal. Is gonna be an easy play to play. Easy money into next week. So that's all I have to say for today. Thank you for watching, and you have a good day.